What's up? What's up? Welcome to the first ever solo Juices Loose podcast. I should just retitle it Juice Opinions. Couple last minute couldn't make it. Robert decided to go to a movie, like you can't go to a movie on Tuesday through Sunday. Terrell is just a wuss, couldn't make it. T had a good excuse, clocked it from Jason from Clocked It. He's just at the wrong time zone in retro. Who knows what retro is? I don't know if he's on Pandora uh, with the Navi. I don't know if he's in France. I don't know if he's in the U.S. But yeah, I'm just gonna talk for a little bit, see if anybody watches, and probably get out of here. In an hour. We'll see who shows up. I might try to make it a little longer just so Clocked It has something to listen to, but it doesn't want to hear my opinions. So I'll probably reiterate that as people join. Let me know if you're watching. Let me know in the chat. Yeah, I had a good topic too. I wanted to talk about what everyone considers. What would they consider a success to the successor of the Switch? Like, what would be a success? So I thought that would be an interesting one. Probably save this topic for another day when everybody can make it or anybody else can make it. It was just gonna be Robert and T and myself, but I was hoping Terrell could make it back, and I'm unsure on Retro Death status. I know he said he'd be missing podcast for a while, but I don't know. Anybody want to audition for the Juices Loose podcast? What's up, Laker? How's my audio? Last week it was super low. Can you hear me okay? I updated OBS. I had a Windows update. I did a BIOS update on my motherboard. I did all kinds of stuff. Updated my RAM from 16 up to 64. What's up, J Biggs? Yeah, we're going Juice Opinions tonight. Unless Sandstorm shows up or T later. I'm just going to ramble on about some things. Yeah, last week I had to put the mic right next to my mouth because people couldn't barely hear me. And but yeah, Laker Link. That's how long you been watching these podcasts? Were you in the Mario Kart tournaments ever? I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time. It's been 10 years. More than 10 years now. It's crazy. What's up, Brand Smith? Welcome to the Juice Opinions is Loose podcast. It's just going to be me. We'll hit this topic again later. I keep putting Switch 2 in the title or Switch Successor just because it seems to bring in more live viewers. What's up, Ibsters? Yeah, so sorry, I'm going to reiterate that it's just going to be me probably 100 times as people join. Let me see. Been getting some better viewership as far as the lives. I demonetized the podcast, so I'm not. I was just watching the podcast. How long ago you think you've been watching the podcast? So I demonetized the podcast. I'm sick of worrying about putting anything on screen that's copyrighted, and it's not like I'm making any money off it really, and that way you guys don't have to have ads. Ibsters, I remember, yeah, you were way back. I should like rewatch like the first couple like Mario Kart Mondays, because we used to have big tournaments. We'd go over the winners, like the top places. We'd go through like the rankings of the tournaments. Man, it was fun. Wii U was good days, man. The camaraderie, the me versus the friends. You could actually message friends and post things and get good replies. It was awesome. Now, sup, Switch 2 coming eventually. Yeah, I honestly think it's going to be late 2025, so possibly holiday or slightly before holiday, September. Some insider, quote unquote, insider, heard from developers that it's not coming out in March, but they're thinking maybe summertime or first end of the first half. And he also heard that it's going to be $4.99 or cheaper. I'm like, seriously? Any idiot with a brain could predict that. Of course, it's going to be under $500. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, what a that just told me that the dude has no information. You wouldn't add that if you actually had some information, unless he's being vague on purpose. But come on, it's going to be $4.99 or cheaper or below $4.99. No shit. No effing shit. It's going to be below 500. Nintendo's not going to release a $500 Switch successor. It's just not going to happen. You'd be 400 is even seems a little high. Like possibly could be 400, but I think they're going to try to be below. So like 379, 349. We'll see though. But it's like, yeah, I mean, oh, this just in, the PS6 is going to be $899 or below. And I heard it's going to come out possibly in let's see, when 2020, so and possibly middle 2027 or holiday 2027, maybe 2028. Like, why would you even type that? It's just so stupid. Yeah, the Wii U Online community was great. Yeah, 349. Not Nintendo Prime. It was one of the Japanese guy. He's like, I don't know if that's the dude from like the not the Wall Street Journal, but like some of the one of those magazines. Let me find. Oops. Let me. I accidentally clicked off the stream. Let me find where I replied, because Robert Rula 2 tweeted a reply to it, and I replied to him. So we'll find the exact person. Let's see. So I need replies. Takashi Machizuki. Toyo Securities analyst Hideki Yasuda says Nintendo's next gen would come first half next year. GameIndustry.biz previously said it wouldn't come this fiscal year. That means the launch would be sometime between April and June. He also said Nintendo's next gen would be $4.99 or cheaper. It's like, come on. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be more than the OLED. So I would think that's why I said $379, maybe probably $399. Who is Nintendo Prime? I recognize the name. That's a name I haven't heard in a while. Let me look him up. Nintendo Prime. No, I don't recognize this guy. That's not the dude that said he had like knew somebody in the dev team years ago. I don't remember this guy. Nate the Hate says Indiana Jones and the Great Circle release on PC in first half of 2025. Like, what is this? People's lives just to try to predict things. So yeah. Anyway, I thought that was kind of funny that someone's like, yeah, it's gonna be under $500. Like, it'd be crazy. Nintendo would be absolutely crazy to release a $500 follow up. So I didn't see. I'm seeing a. Is this from this giant controller? Is this from like the museum? I didn't. He used to run Zelda Informer. I'm not familiar with them. Did Nintendo had a? I saw they had like a live event. Did they show that museum and stuff today? Should I do a live reaction to that? Let me check their YouTube channel. I had a Twitch notification that they had a live stream, and I'm like, what the hell are they streaming? All right, so they did have something.
皆さんこんにちは。
I guess I'll do a live reaction to it. I don't think I have anything set up for that though. I don't have my green screen. Let me check OBS here. So let's see, full screen second. No, I can just Full screen cam, dual live reaction. Yeah, I don't have anything set up to be on camera doing a live reaction. But I can do this. This will work. I wish I could make... yeah, let me do this. Alright, I haven't seen this.
宮本で
So,
す。今
like
回
I
は
said, I turned
オー
off...
プンに向けて準備中の任天
Hold
堂
on,
ミュ
I
ージアム
can't
か
see
ら
the chat.
お届けします。
I turned off monetization, so I shouldn't be worried. Let me get the chat up. So I gotta hit this.
私は今、
And
ミュー
then
ジアムの
I
入
gotta
り口の
do
レセプションエリアにい
this.
ます。建物の
And then
外観は
this. There
こ
we
んな
go.
感じになっています。
Alright.
もともとこの場所にはトランプや花札を作ってきた任天堂の工場があって、ファミコンの頃は製品チェックをしたり、私もよく通っていた懐かしい場所です。
There we go.
たくさんのトラックが出入りした
Trying to
広
see
場
all
は
the subtitles.
マリオの
So I
広場
gotta
に
move
生ま
the
れ変わ
chat
りま
up.
した。そしてこの度、長年任天堂製品に関わってきたこの場所をミュージアムとして再
Can I
生しま
skip
した。
ahead? Because I want to
今
sit
日
here
は
and read all
任
this.
天堂ミュージアムがどのようなところなのかを駆け足でご紹介したいと思います。そ
See,
れ
a
では
museum
中へ
excites
ど
me
うぞ。
way more than a theme park. Like, especially how lame I think the Nintendo, whatever it's called, Universal
こ
Nintendo
こは
thing.
2
I
階の
think
展
that
示フ
looks
ロアで
lame
す。
and I'd be bored
2
after
階は
15
任天堂
minutes.
が
So
創業以来
this
発売
already
してき
looks
たさまざまな製品を展示してい
promising.
ます。
Look at the big DS. Look at the
ぐ
big
るー
controller.
っ
That's
と見
cool.
渡
I
すと、ビデオゲー
literally
ム機を中心
was
に
gonna
そ
tell
こか
that
ら
to the
現在
guys.
に
I
至
said
る
I'd
ま
love
で
to
の
see
さまざま
giant
な製
versions
品が
of
見
the
渡せます。
consoles or something. And I was just like completely
こ
making
こ
that
から
up.
は
And it
大きなコ
they
ント
did
ロー
it
ラーが目に入ります。
for the controllers. That's awesome. Why are they in the air
皆さ
though?
んの興味があるものを自由にご覧ください。それぞれのハードに分けた展示と合わせて我々の独創性とチャレンジをご覧になれます。
I want to see like
ご
some
存知の方も多い
prototypes.
と
As
思い
like
ます
they
が、
never
任天
released
堂はビデオゲー
images
ムを
of
作
like
るずっと以前
prototype
から
Wii
家庭
or
の遊びを作って
GameCube,
きました。
N64 or something.
創業は今から135年前の
135 years.
1889年です。
That's crazy.
はじめは花札やカルタの製造が主な事業
Wish
で
I
し
could
た。
get rid of this third screen here.
それ以来任天堂はさまざまな遊びを生む玩具を作るようになり、それらがゲーム&ウォッチやファミコンへとつながってきました。ここではそのような昔の製品も振り返ってご覧いただけます。それではどんな展示になって
I
いる
wonder
か
what they're
少
planning
し
to
だ
do
け
in
見
that
てみま
middle.
しょ
That's a
う。
pretty big space just to be nothing.
こちらはファミコンの展示コーナーです。ご覧ください。日本向けと海外向けでハードのデザインが大きく違いますね。
Wow,
当
the
時は
old
こんな
Famicom
風
and
に
gold
日本と
controllers.
海外でデザインを変えて売っていたんです。名前も違っていて、ファミコンは日本以外では任天堂エンターテインメントシステム、
I
略し
never
て
personally
NES
had
と
the
呼ばれていました。
Nintendo NES, but my grandpa
そしてこちらはソフトで
bought
す。
the Power Pack
日
with
本向
the
け、北米向け、ヨーロッパ向けで
The
パ
Power
ッケージのデザインや大きさも違いますね。
It had 3 games on one cart:
このよ
Mario
うに
Brothers,
比
Donkey
べて
Kong,
みる
and
こと
Track
で
and
い
Field.
ろんなことを発見していただける展示
But
に
it
なってい
wasn't
ます
ours. My grandpa took it and gave it to our nephews when they were born. They were way
ミュージア
younger.
ムには任天堂が発売したすべてのタイトルを展示していますか
Games
ら、
that Nintendo
皆さんが
published.
遊
It
ば
looks
れたタ
pretty
イトルを
bare right
つけてく
now.
ださい。上のモニターではそれぞれのゲーム画面も見られるよう
Better
に
be
なっ
able
て
to
い
play
ます。
some games.
前に立つとそれぞれの音が聞こえるスピーカーになっていますよ。
That's cool.
では
Plot
別
twist.
の
There's
展
a
示コーナー
Switch.
もいくつ
Two
か覗いて
nestled
み
in
まし
all
ょう。
those consoles. Yeah, I was. You know, that's
この
another
コー
thing
ナ
I
ー
was
で
going to
は
say. This is going to
体を動
secretly
か
be
す
a
モーショ
reveal
ン
for
を
the
使っ
Switch
た遊
too.
びの進化を見ていただけます。
Yeah,
そ
they
してこ
could
こで
have
は
they could
ハ
have the
テナ
Switch
ブロックのデ
successor
ザイン
just
がどのよう
randomly
に
placed
進
in
化
this
してきた
video.
かを見てい
They
ただく
wouldn't
ことも
do
でき
that,
ます。
but it'd be funny if they did.
このコーナーではそれぞれのハードのたびに
That's
ス
cool to
ー
see
パーマリオ
side
や
by
ゼ
side
ルダ
like
の
all
伝
the
説などの
generational leaps. That's
画
cool.
面の進化を一気にご覧になれます。
That is cool.
さてこちらのコーナーでは多くの皆さんが知らない任天堂がビデオゲームを作る前の時代の製品を展示しています。 これは
The hell is
コピラ
that?
スといってジアード式のコピー機です。こちらにはママベリカ、ベビ
That's
ーカー
just
があります
crazy
ね。
toy guns, baby strollers.
任天堂はトランプや花札に始まり、ボードゲームやラジコンカー、バッティングマシンなどいろいろなファミリー向けの玩具を作っていました。
Again, I'm like, I couldn't spend hours here, but
そし
it'd
て
be
こ
cool
の
to
光
see.
線
I
銃
ain't
が
gonna
一
fly
つ
to
の転
Japan
機とな
for it.
り、ゲームセンターなどのゲーム機を作り始めたんですね。これは任天堂が初めて作った家庭用のビデオゲーム機、テレビゲーム6と15です。ちょうど私が入社した1977年に
I
発
was
売され
born
ま
in
した。
78, so
一つ一つの製品を見る
he
と
looks
ユ
not
ニー
much
クな
older
製
than
品作りを
me.
続けてきたことがわかります。このようにミュージアムの2階では任天堂の過去の製品をたくさん展示しています。そして遊びがどのように進化しつながってきたかをお見せします。今日お見せしたのはごく一部ですから、ぜひ実際に見に来てください。では1階に移動しましょう。1階は違ったエリアになってい
I
ますよ。
wonder if they're just like,
はい、1階に降りてきました。ご覧の通り1階の中央は巨大なモニターになっています。
almost looks like he's
こんな感
standing
じ
in
で
front of
皆
a
さんも
green
このモ
screen.
ニターの上に乗って百人一首を遊んでいただくことができます。スマートフォンと組み合わせて遊びますよ。このようにミュージアムの
I'm
1階
thinking
の
they
フロ
just
ア
made
は
so
イン
much
タラク
money
ティ
off
ブ
the
に体験
Switch
がで
that
きる
they
エリア
gotta
になっている
spend
ん
it
で
on
す。
something.
過去に任天堂が作ってきた製品を今の時
Probably
代に
just
蘇
for
ら
tax
せる
reasons
と
gotta
ど
just
んな遊
spend.
びになるか、そんなテーマで8つの体験を作ってみました。ミュージアムに入るときに渡されるこの入館証にコインが入
Be
っているん
cool
で
if
す
like
が、
bringing like a 3DS
体
or
験には
Switch
そ
or
のコイ
something
ン
would
を
have
使い
some
ます。
kind of benefit, but
今日は8つある体験の中から3つを紹介しましょう。さあ、こちらは小さな部屋がいくつか並んでいますね。どんな体験ができるのでしょ
like, are they
う。
replicating
ここは
bedrooms from that?
1968年に発売されたウルトラマシンが体験できるんです。ウルトラマシンはピンポンの球のようなボールを自動で投げてく
They're
れ
really
る
going all in
部
with
屋の
this
中で
their
プレー
history
で
of
き
their
るバッ
company.
ティングマシンでした。私が入社したのは改訂版のウルトラマシンデラックスが発売される年でした。少しだけ仕上げに関われました。その頃は社内にプレイルームというのがあって、昼休みにはアーケードゲームやウルトラマシンを遊んでいました。こちらに並んだ部屋は当時の家庭を再現しています。部屋に置かれているものが違うので、お好みの部屋を選んでください。という遊びです。任天堂は1970年代にレーザークレイというボーリング場を改造し
And
た
this is cool,
業
but
務用のシューティング場を
for the
展開していました。
podcast, wow, that's like a
このレーザークレイを今の
That's pretty
技術で
impressive.
体験できるように
The
作っ
shooting
てみたのが
so they got the super scope. Now that would be fun. Again, I'm not flying to Japan for it. But super scope. We got the
はい、
I forget what the NES gun was called.
マリオやピーチは撃っ
I
たらダメ
never
ですよ。
used the super scope.
クッパ、のこのこ狙って撃ちましょ
Yeah, it looks cool, but I'm
う。
not
さあ、い
gonna
っぱい出てきました。ウィーンに至るまでさまざまなゲ
watch
ー
it.
ムを
Now
プレイ
that
できます。
there you go, giant
で
controllers.
もちょっと何か違いますよね。
I'm like
そう
men,
です。
like guys
コン
like
トローラー
big,
が
like
超巨大
giant
です。
versions of things, and
こ
women
のコ
like
ントロ
small
ーラーを
versions of
2人で
things.
協力分担してゲームを遊んでみましょう。
So
で
it
は今
actually
日はファ
functions,
ミ
and
コ
you
ン
need
のス
two
ー
people.
パーマ
That's
リオブ
cool.
ラザーズをミュージアムのスタッフさんと一緒にプレイしてみます。よろ
Yeah,
し
this
く。
is already to me. This is already way
ス
better
タッ
than
フ
the
さんが
Nintendo
A ボタンの
World,
ジャンプ、
whatever it's
私が
called, the
十字
theme.
ボタンで移動を担当します。2人で息を合わせてクリアしましょう。頑張りましょ
No pressure. Just playing with the god of gaming. I bet that would be fun to like get good at. Run. Oh, you're gonna die on the later level or the next jump event. That's it. Oh, I lost the chat. That music's gonna get copyrighted. Glad I demonetized or
いい出しです
turned off
やりました
monetization.
2
The
人で声を
zapper,
掛け合い
my
ながら
friend had
分
a
担して
super
操
scope.
作すると全く違った体験にな
That's
ります
cool.
ねここでは他にもスーパーファミコン
Giant Wii
任天堂
remotes.
64 Wii のゲームを巨大コントローラーで遊ぶことができます
I mean, it's cool. It's
大きい
novel.
Wii
It
リモ
would
コン
be practical.
どんな遊び
obviously.
になるでしょ
Still,
ういかがでしたでしょう
that's
か
all they showed. What the hell?
今日ご紹介したものは任天堂ミュージアムのほんの一部です
That's pretty much
製
it.
品の展示やインタラクティブな遊びの体験の他にも
That was cool. I mean, it looks like it'd be worth visiting for sure. To me, it looks more interesting than the, like I said, the Nintendo. I don't even know what it's called. The theme, Nintendo theme thing. Oh, Sandstorm said he'll be there. Be here in 10 minutes. So, what up, Airs? Let's see. Omar is new since I started. Since I switched over to the reaction there. Yeah, I mean the museum looks cool. If I was in, is it Kyoto where that museum is? I know they built a new office too, or built a new building. I mean, they made all that money. We talked last week about how much they made just off Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Billions of dollars. So, one thing I want to talk about when Sandstorm gets here, I'll ask him. So, you guys watching this, name right now. Tell me like a game journalist, like a professional, not just a YouTuber. Tell me a game journalist who you like, you follow, you trust their opinions, you listen to their opinions. Because back in the day, like, I mean, I can't name everybody, but Matt Casamassina, you had Per Schneider, I know he's still at IGN. Fran, was it Bozon? I forget his name. At IGN, you had, after him, you had, was it Carlos? I want to say you had, who's the girl that works for Nintendo now? Then you had Jeff Gertzman. You had people, just, you knew, and like GameSpot, IGN's, trying to think, because you know some of these magazines and publications have closed down, but I'm trying to think of like what were the go-tos. And for me, it was GameSpot and IGN for sure. Like those were the top two, and they were good sources of information. Their reviews from time to time. GameSpot would like to do the clickbait low review, like the Skyward Sword one's the most notorious that I know of. I think they even gave like Tropical Freeze a pretty low score the first time out. Then the Switch version somehow was like 3 points higher, whatever it was. And it was just like I never had to question it. There was the Nintendo guys. They reviewed Dan Shu. I don't recognize that name. Like I said, there was, I can't think of the girl's name, worked at IGN. Now she works for the Treehouse. And there's just been, it used to be a pretty good community. Everyone must have some slight bias, bottom line. Even, I mean, yeah, they had the Nintendo team, they had the PlayStation, Xbox, and then the game of the year was Nintendo. Like Matt Casamassina was always fighting. EGM, nice, yeah, good magazine. The actual magazines I used to read. The reason I bring this up is because I think we got to a point where gaming journalism, for the most part, is just absolute dog shit. Like, and what's up, AB James? The YouTubers, you know, just changed the game, and it sucks that you can't trust everybody. There's so many shills who are getting paid or getting free game review copies, so they're afraid to say anything bad. Yeah, Tropical Freeze was a 6 at GameSpot. I think Skyward Sword was like a 6.5. Yeah, the one with the big assets. I can't think of her name. But like today, like you have, like I trust Switch Up. Those guys are legit, but they review a bunch of indie games I don't give a shit. Like I don't care about. But I like those guys. You know, kind of, I like John from Good Vibes. I haven't seen much. I don't know if I unsubscribed from them. I haven't seen anything from them. Aubrey Drake, yeah. You also had like the IGN hosts, which again I can't think of either of their name, Jessica Chobot and stuff. But yeah, Trap of Please is definitely, you know, at least at the minimum, if you're gonna, if like difficult platforming is an issue, you can't give it below a 9 don't on everything else. But besides the point, nowadays, I don't know if you guys pay much attention to this. The For whatever reason, game journalism has been taken over, if you will, by activists, basically.
What?
I don't know why. I don't know why. It's I. Somebody made a pretty good point. This isn't my point, but they made a good point. They said basically a lot of journalists, a lot of journalism majors, a lot of schools that what's up in their sandstorm. Um, I was just talking about how I used to trust like game journalists. I used to have favorites. I used to like going to IGN and GameSpot and you know, hearing what somebody thought of a game preview. I was excited. Is your mic working?
Yeah.
Okay. And it started with YouTubers kind of becoming the new thing, but now game journalism has just become a shit show, man. It's like everything really is about firsts and clicks at this point. I can't just say game journalism. It's just society as a whole has gotten that. Regular news has been like that for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean they're pretty much a joke now.
it's
Like
disgusting,
before,
man.
like you know, going to like G4 and stuff like that, you'd be excited to, you know, hear any kind of game reviews or like updates on, you know, the latest game or something like that. And that was always exciting, but like now it's so funny to like hear like these rumors now, right? Because it was like, oh, rumor this, and you're like, well, I could have guessed that. Like,
Yeah, like I said
like
earlier, the guy who's like, "Oh, the Switch 2's gonna be $4.99 or cheaper." That's what I heard. No shit, dude. Like, no. What did you like? There's no way it's gonna be 500 or more. Like, there's no way. But like I don't know. You're. I can't remember how much younger you are than me, but for me, IGN, like Matt Casamassina was the guy on IGN's Nintendo channel. He got
hmm
his hands on with Metroid Prime 3 or Metroid Prime Echoes. I was so excited to click on that article and read it and then watch the video preview. You know, like I was so excited
yeah,
about that.
yeah,
Nowadays, like as you got in here, I was just talking about like there are just so many agenda pushing, and it's not just like the YouTuber who obviously getting paid to say or isn't going to say anything bad about a company or a game because they want to get a free review copy next time. There's people
right.
straight up activists pushing their personal agendas, like Screen Rant. I didn't know they did game reviews. I don't pay any attention to them.
hmm
Black Myth Wukong, they gave a 6 out
I
of
was
10.
I was just gonna say, aren't they the ones that have like always have like the hand like before you buy
No,
something
I don't
or
think
change
that's
your
Screen
something
Rant. I
before you
think
buy?
that's Games Radar.
Oh, that's Game
Before you
Radar. Okay.
buy. Screen Rant,
Yeah.
I thought was mostly movie reviews, but
Okay.
so the
Yeah, you're
person
right.
on there puts three really good positives, and for the three negatives, inclusion and diversity was one of the three main negatives in this Chinese mythology game about a monkey human fighting just creatures of all just creation. Like just the weirdest creatures.
Inclusion. That's the problem right there.
So digging further into the review, she specifically pointed out the lack of feminine characters and female NPCs and or bosses. Now, apparently according to what's Game Science is the company, like
hmm
just looking at the data, only like that 60% of the reviewers only discovered about 60% of the actual content, the bosses and stuff. I thought there was like a sexy like snake um woman character, and maybe that was a different game. That might have been that PlayStation, that Japanese game
Oh, the other one.
that's come out
Yeah.
2026, the Phantom Blade.
Yeah.
But either way, so um
I mean, but at the end of the day, who
literally
cares?
said reduce the score because of a lack of feminine or female NPC characters. Like literally that said it straight out loud. Now, on its own, whatever. That's your you want to take points away from that, then that just, to me, you just kind of expose yourself, like your agenda. And
Mm-hmm.
then the thing that's like crazy about it is the games radar took her name off to protect her for safety, and somebody already had screen capped it. They look her up, and she works for a DEI consulting firm. And then on their webpage, they have a photo of the staff, and there's between 40 and 50 women, and then 3 dudes in the back at this company.
Oh wow.
Screen Rant. Maybe she's just like, maybe she reviews other games. She's, what do you call that? Where they just somebody, they just pay them on a one by one by,
Yeah.
like, what's
Uh,
that phrase? Like if a photographer, they hire like a,
yeah,
they don't
kind of like what
they don't
Peter
hire
Parker
them,
was.
but they just say, if you do work for us, we'll pay you, for
Yeah,
each time you do it. So
yeah.
can't think of that term. And it's like, so you work at a company where 95% is female, and of course the big negative for you is that this game doesn't have any females. Yet the place you work doesn't have equality. It doesn't have
Right.
even breakdown. Um,
Hypocritical.
so it's just like, and it's like, why did Screen Rant have this person review this game? And there was already controversy from IGN posting about sexist comments from the creators on years ago on Twitter. And yeah, I looked it up. There's a Chinese girl. She made a really good video talking about it and gave some really deep, like, good insight into the Chinese gaming industry. It's pretty. It's like 13-minute video. It was entertaining. I wish she'd do more because I was like, wow, that's crazy. Um, they when they showed off the game in 2020, it was
Yeah.
basically like a, this is what we're working on. This is our goal. This is our scope for the game, and now we need. I remember they were looking to hire people,
Mm-hmm.
so they had such a, like, flood of people like applying that the dude was overwhelmed. So he gets on Twitter, and apparently, like, it's big in China for, like, really crude humor, and he made the analogy, and I thought it was hilarious, that they were so overwhelmed with how many people were applying. He said it was like, and pardon my French here, having his dick licked by so many people that he could no longer keep an erection, basically overstimulated. That's the analogy he used. So, and then when it was translated, it translated exactly what he said, and he thought, and people just ran with that and just said, yeah, it's a ridiculous thing for, like, somebody who works at a game development to, like, for his analogy for, like, how overwhelmed they were with how many people applied for those positions.
Right.
Yeah, that's you don't, like, in America, definitely West, like, you could say that as a
Right.
comedian. You can't say that as, like, a
Anybody
person,
else?
like, somebody in the company they're looking to hire people. You just can't say that out loud. You could make a joke about it, but he said it, put it out there. Is it inappropriate? The girl said that it was controversial in China. It wasn't like,
Mm.
like, it was just fine, but they also had made a mobile game before this, and their advertisement was just this really just crazy, like, sexual innuendo stuff. It was weird. Like, one dude
Mm.
had like a baby bottle over his penis. It was just crazy. It was more shock
Very.
value. So they definitely said some rude, crude shit. Like, no doubt about it. But this girl was like, I'm not saying what he should have said it that way, but this is what he meant. This is what it said translated, but this is what he was basically comparing. Like, they were just overwhelmed, and he used a very rude. And she's like, it's very common in China for people to use rude, like, crude comment, like, things like that, as for humor. So
Right.
take it what you will. You could say it's unacceptable. Yeah, they deserved it, and I have no problem with them getting called out for that, like, pointing that out. But IGN just consists, like, they just tried to say, oh, these guys are sexist, misogynist, and all that, and then people just, other game journalists just reported the IGN story as if it was 100% factual, and it became more and more out of context and all that. And I'm not saying, like I said, what they said, you don't say that. Like, it's funny, but you don't say that. Like that's not something you put out there if you're like, I don't know how far up the chain the dude was. And then and then so anyway, long story short, at a press event, I forget the other journalistic game journalist, not company. I think it's a company. They got a hands on, and they asked him, "Well, what about the sexist sex or allegations of being sexist, misogynist?" And they're like, "No comment. You know, we're only here to talk about the game and the gameplay. It's a game demo. Like that's what we're here to talk about." And that was made like it was like a huge negative. And then the game comes out, and the IGN brought up that again, and that Screen Rant brought that up. We can't leave out this company is a misogynistic, sexist company, and then there's no. It's like, what does that
So
have to do with
a video game.
the game and if it's good? Like, I don't give a
Right.
shit. Unless this dude was like sex selling sex slaves, children or something, it's
Right.
not gonna affect my decision to buy the game because some dude tweeted something kind of crude but also funny. Like, what does that have to do with just review the game? This is a review of the game. Like,
Right.
it's so stupid. And then Kotaku was like very big on this, and like they double down, triple down. They don't even back down. Like Stellar Blade got negative reviews, and they said the reason was the over sexuality. I mean, you didn't. I think you saw the game for like a minute. I played the whole
Mhm.
game. I had 60 hours. The opening scene when they pull her out of the pod, that's like one of the more sexualized camera angles in the whole game. Like it's nothing like Bayonetta. And
And
to
it
like
wasn't really that big of a deal.
and to like lower the score for something like that just tells me um, that these people are. And I guess I got to get back to the beginning. The problem is that game journalists are failed, like real journalists. Like they end up in
Yeah.
as game journalists. Most of them, I would, and this is just an assumption because that's not where they want to be. There's one that did a whole video, or not a whole video, article on that I forget it was a guy or a girl, how much they hate gamers because
Yeah.
during the Jeff Keighley thing, there's always a negative comment every time they show a game. Dragon Age Inquisition, people are mad because it didn't look like Dragon Age. They're like, what is this? This isn't Dragon Age. And oh, the Fable girl, oh, she's ugly. You know, yeah, there's people that say stuff like that. There's always gonna be people pointing out negative. Doesn't matter what you look.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what we're talking about. There's always people gonna be pointing out the negative. And that's just like, who cares? Like, if you can't handle that, if you think that that's such a major problem, then I'm sorry, you're soft. But yeah, so a bunch
Yeah.
of game journalists are just they're failed journalists. They don't even like. I have a feeling they don't even really like gaming, or they like gaming, but they just never. It wasn't like it's not a huge thing for them. It's not like a huge
Yeah.
passion, and and for whatever reason, they just have become more and more like against gamers like us, like especially male gamers, especially
Yeah.
uh, male gamers with a lower amount of melatonin in their skin becomes like the easy target for everybody now, and it's just like
Mhm.
it's just sad, and I don't know why that happened. I know that they're just looking for clicks now because they're getting outshined by the big YouTubers and
Yeah.
like
It's it's funny. It's funny too because like if you side note, freelancers. That's what you were looking for.
yep,
Freelancers.
freelancer.
But it's funny because it's not the first time like we've really kind of ran into this situation, right? Like we had what's her name from G4 Ice? Is that right? I can't
Oh,
remember.
that yeah, she
Frost.
said
Yeah.
some
But
frost. She said some
yeah,
stupid shit.
yeah. And they and
She got
when it comes down to it, it's a lot of people who I personally don't think they play video games like that. So like if they came from the movie industry or whatever industry, it doesn't really matter what it is, anything but gaming. Like they all have different standards, right? So like when we watch a movie, there's naturally just women in a movie,
mm-hmm.
whether it's black or white, it doesn't really matter. So then when you come to a game that doesn't have to involve having, and I just looked it up. I just looked up the how many like women, female characters are in a Journey to the West, and it's really not that many. Like I think it was like 4 or 6 or something like that. Like it's not many at all. So when you're talking about inclusion in a game that first off doesn't even talk about girls or guys in the first place, and then not to even
Is
have
that
that
Black Myth
representation.
Wutong you said you looked up? Or Wukong?
No,
Oh.
Journey to so Black Myth Wukong is based on a Journey to the West,
Oh, so yeah,
and
they're basing it on a already existing material. Yeah, yeah, yep.
yeah. So if you already don't have too many women in the first place, then what is the problem? But that also tells you that they also don't look up the source material either.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of take it for face value. And so once again, it's like how and it sucks because we know, like gamers know, we can't really watch these guys and really take in like their opinions, thoughts and opinions unless it's like really base form. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the game is 4K, 60 frames. Okay, that's like we can take that as fact, you know.
Yeah.
But when they start saying, "Oh, it's, the colors don't look good to me because okay, now like what TV were you playing it on?" You know what I'm saying? So like it's just gotten to that point where I feel like so like for us, we're podcasters, right? Like we just have podcasts. But like people on IGN and stuff like that, they're just like us, but like professional, like face value podcasters. They're
Mm-hmm.
not really actually professionals. They're just the exact same as us. They just happen to have more subscribers than we do. And so people take subscription as, oh my gosh, these guys know what they're talking about. And 9 times out of 10 is like, even for Stellar Blade, like even the little bit that I saw watching the game, uh, I'm like, I don't understand what the problem with this game
Apparently,
was.
this is a character in Black Myth Wukong. I looked up female boss, and this image keeps popping up. So
Okay. So
it's it's not like there's not a single female character, and like you said, it's based on material,
hmm
and most of the enemies, those of the bosses are just like creatures. They're just like a werewolf creature, like or some giant. Who cares if it has a gender? Who cares if it has a sex type character? It's like
right.
it's so not the point that it just like to make that. And I mean, again, everybody has their own opinion, but to me, that's just so ridiculous. And somebody said something up before you were going in about that. Yeah, game journalists are activist posing. Somebody said, what do they call them? Localizers are failed writers. They end up localized. I think.
Yeah.
And T, if you're watching this, I apologize. Next week you can come on and you can give an alternative view. I think colleges have become so overwhelmed, I guess, or so over focused on like super liberal ideologies and stuff. I know colleges have always kind of been like that. Journalists are just almost always like all the major like journalist schools and stuff. They're all very liberal based. Um, Obviously, there's conservatives who got into journalism. I'm not saying everybody, but what happens is you have all these kids going to school because I mean, I love my brother. He's 50s, mid 50s, and he wants to go get his master or get his doctorate degree. He's just basically been a lifetime student, and he worked at a school, college, most of his life.
hmm
I think colleges for majority of people are just a big scam. I think they're so overpriced. Everyone's told from like nowadays, oh, you got to get a college education. You got to get a college education. It's so important. You know what else is important? Like having electricity, having water, having roads, having, stuff work.
Right.
You gotta mix it up. It can't be so lopsided with people getting degrees. So all these people go to and it's all bullshit degrees. Uh, Gender studies major, um, like I can't think of the actual term, but somebody who's like majors in like race relations or like studying like stuff that there's really not a lot of jobs for.
Right.
Journalism. I dated a girl who went to school for drama. She was a drama major, and then she wasn't even pursuing act. She had a degree, and then she wasn't even like working as like on her craft. She wasn't acting in like local, like in Grand Rapids. She wasn't trying to work for any kind of acting clubs or anything. She had a freaking drama degree. It's like that's the most worthless degree you could have had. Like, yeah, you need to
Yeah.
go somewhere to learn how to act, but go to college, build up $20,000 in debt, like ridiculous. So I think a lot of people they go to college and they get sucked into a lot of agendas and protesting, and not everybody, but I think that feels like a lot. And they're like, oh, journalist, oh, that's a good degree. And then they go get out of college and they're like, oh wait, like there's not a lot of opportunities to actually get a job. I can't go work
Mm-hmm.
for CNN. Like everybody who works there is like 40 or above. Like you have, and they've been there forever. Like there's no way to get into CNN or MSNBC or whatever. These other, well, what can I use my journalist degree for? Oh, I could write. I could cover stuff. Oh, games journalism. Oh, I could do that. You know, I like video games. I'm just kind of mentally trying to think of how they get down these paths, and then it just. I'm sorry, a lot of yada people 30 and below. They have, if they gone to college, they have very very liberal beliefs, and I know that the whole saying is the older you get, the more conservative you get, and I'm starting to
Mm-hmm.
feel that a little bit. But just because I see some of the things going on, I hear some of these things these game like journalists are talking about, and it's like it's so stupid. And the I was hoping Tro would be here because during his live reaction to like I think it was the Xbox showcase, and you
Mm-hmm.
might have brought this up too on yours. I think a couple of the guys, maybe I'm might correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody in Terrell's like a couple people were just like, man, is every video game they show have a female protagonist now? Like
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Crazy, right?
percentage is, but it felt like at least
Yeah.
85 to 90% of every game they showed was either only a female protagonist or it was featured a female protagonist, like in the Concord on the Sony State of Play. Like it featured a female and then like a dude. He was basically a white guy with green skin, you know. And but like the Xbox showcase, you had the Flintlock game which came out
That's
mid
female.
to below mid. Um, you had the South of whatever female character.
That's
You had
female.
Fable female character, Perfect
Fable.
Dark female
Dark.
character.
Yep.
Um, there was other games like
Dragon Age Inquisition had a female character.
it's just
Or
like
not
so
Inquisition.
to that girl, that woman, who reviewed the from Screen Rant said that she's complaining there's not enough female representation in Black Myth. Aren't you looking at all the other games? Like every game has to be a female lead. Like he made a good point. People are complaining about they're making a push to get rid of attractive female characters in games. He's like, well, there's still plenty of like super attractive female characters. It's not like they're gone now, so quit complaining. You know, one or
Right.
two here or there. Like, I think it's gonna go to the point where unless it's Japan or China or
Mm-hmm.
Korea,
Mm-hmm.
name me like a super attractive, like sexy female character to come out in a game in the last couple years. Like, I think Aloy is very attractive, but some
She's
people
right.
don't.
She's real world attractive
But
to
yeah,
me. That's
but it's like Mortal Kombat 1. I didn't
mm-hmm.
realize this. Like, almost every female character design is like completely covered up now.
Yep.
Someone called it Mortal Kombat woke recently. I didn't know that. Like, I
Yep.
saw Robert's favorite character with the like she's got like the snake mouth or something. She covers up part of her mouth.
Oh, Melina.
Melina. And it's like it's got so overwhelming. Mortal Kombat goofy creators are scared to continue the series' old vision of sex and violence. Like there's a line for sure, but Cammy in Street Fighter 6, she's not wearing a bikini and she's still freaking she caught a lot of attention. Chun-Li, they covered her up, her legs, she's got leggings on. She garnered
Yeah.
a lot of attention for her design. It's not in your face obvious, but they're still really sexy, very and varied in their shapes and sizes. There are some
Hmm.
super skinny ones. There's some real thick ones like Chun Li. You got
Cammy.
bodybuilder
Don't,
one. Cammy's
don't
like,
forget.
small up top, but she's packing down below. You have a young character, just a cute character. You have like um, I think she's like, I don't know if she's Jamaican or she's really, you know, she's got
Hmm.
amazing, like her fight style is just like, she's constantly moving, dancing and stuff. And yeah,
But
like
like you said, that's Japan though.
yeah,
Like all of these guys are Japan. Like they really don't care about that kind of
it's
stuff.
starting to creep in. I've seen it starting to creep in Japan a bit with Square Enix with some of their censorship of
Hmm.
Tifa's cleavage and stuff. It starts
Hmm.
small. It always starts small. And I'm like, yeah, like T is right. There's plenty of attractive female characters, but you can't tell me that there hasn't been a conscious effort to
Dial it back a little bit.
dial it back a lot and have like Mary Jane from the first game and the second game. She got this like big old jaw and nothing even remotely attractive about her the way she dresses or anything anymore. She went from like a early 20s to like she looks like a 40-year-old mom. Um and who, I'm not saying that's the worst thing ever, but it's that one in that case it was very obvious. But you got like the
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 remake, like I forget what the character's name is in the red. Um, and I don't have a problem with that. But I'm just saying it's happened to some Japanese games. Like there is a line. It does You don't need to be running around with a flashlight in a horror movie wearing a thong and like a bikini top like in the Fatal Frame. I
Right.
agree. That's completely unnecessary, but at the same time, who cares if it's there, if it's an option? If as long as it's like, if you don't have to play that way, then don't. Like somebody said about Stellar Blade. It's like, I feel so absurd. I'm playing this game and I'm in a bunny outfit. Don't put the bunny outfit on. There's plenty of fully clothed options. That's on you. Um,
Side note, I don't know why you would feel uncomfortable. I played the whole Bayonetta 2 in the Fox outfit. So
yeah. And who did you do the slow walk? Make sure to only press a little bit
Oh
to do the
yeah.
walk.
Oh yeah.
It's like, but and that was that game. What's it called? It's a UK Metro UK, I think, was like a game site, and they gave Bayonetta 2 like a 6 because of its over sexuality. This person was so offended, and it's like, well,
What
don't
it
get somebody else to
is.
play the game. But yeah, pulling
Right.
someone's heart out through their throat, but people are worried about the cleavage. You know, that's the deal breaker. Like,
That's wild.
like I always talk about overcorrection. Yeah, you don't need like the most ridiculously scantily clad um, female characters, but then you don't have to
Hmm.
go the other way and just have them completely concealed, completely covered, and you can't even tell if it's a woman's body, and because the clothes are so just
Right.
loose
And
fitting or bulky and stuff. So it's like you don't need to go the other way. Have we talked about Concord? I don't think we talked about Concord, other than the characters look
to
boring.
be to be honest with you, even if you ask a lot of women, like real world women, like what do they wear in their leisure time, or like if they didn't have to dress up all the time,
They
what would they
wear
wear?
yoga pants and a tank top, probably.
Then a tank top. Like so, like what's the issue here? With the with or without a sports bra, doesn't matter to them. Like that's just what they would wear because they like the feeling. So like what? So I don't know. I just feel like I feel like it's not hypocritical, but like I can't think of the word where you want to call something out for something, but that thing doesn't even really care about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's when you speak for a group that doesn't have a like Native Americans. They don't care.
Yeah.
They weren't. Most Native Americans don't care that the Washington Redskins are called the Washington Redskins. Actually, a lot of them liked it. They had a team. Um,
Right.
so here's the Concord character. So tell me what you know. It's fine to have a collection of varied characters.
Wow.
That's just how stupid are those glasses and that
Make
the
sure
shoulder
make sure
pads.
to know. Don't show any shoulder.
Yeah. Here's another one.
Wow.
Here's another one.
Wow.
And now you got an old grandma. She's probably
This is
wearing the
what we
most revealing outfit. Here's another one. Looks just like the other one above. Like,
this is what we're doing, huh?
this is Concord. Okay. She's attractive. In the
Yeah,
cutscene. She was the one featured in the cutscene.
the main one. Yeah, she's like a mage or
Okay,
something.
this girl probably gets a lot of people out probably pick her. You know, cute,
Oh,
cute
you
alien,
know,
cute
you know
alien
they're
girl.
gonna give. She's gonna be young. She's gonna be
All right,
underage, and they're gonna.
here's your blackmail character. Again, what are these designs? They're terrible. That
I don't know.
whatever that is.
Mm,
Okay, I don't
that's
have a
very
problem with the
iffy.
cool look. That's a kind of a cool looking alien design. I actually like that one. All right, here's your. Well, we changed the skin slightly green, but he's it's just a white
White
guy.
guy.
Okay. Roka, okay, Roka with the ugliest helmet you could possibly have put on her.
Right.
And then here's the Thanos kind of wannabe. I can't think he's a cool looking character. All right, here's your one white guy. He looks like he might have a dad bod. I can't quite tell. Just an average looking dude.
Right.
And then Vale, I think's the last one. So it's just like,
Wow.
all right, we're gonna go the complete opposite of
We'll give you two.
sexy characters. We're gonna go the complete opposite. Everybody's completely covered. We're gonna have shapes and sizes, but not all shapes and sizes. We're not gonna have like the very curvy woman. We had a couple like skinnier girls, but it's like, so you're going too far. Like, and
Hmm.
why did people really like Overwatch? What was one of the big like side effects or things that propelled Overwatch? You ever seen cosplayers? How many
Yeah.
cosplayers you think did Tracer cosplay? Probably every single woman that does cosplay. And I don't know any of the others, but they had a huge following just for the character designs. It's
Hmm.
like you, it is what it is. That helped propelled Overwatch. You had the cinematics that people were like looking forward to the next cinematic, and apparently they, whether it was in Overwatch or in a Fortnite, they completely flattened Tracer. She's completely flat from the side. She has no curves from the side. Um,
That's
yeah, I
horrible.
remember Samus in Smash 4. She is a lot chestier than in Smash Ultimate, which is what it is. But moral of the story is my what point I was getting at is you fine have your plus size character, have your old lady, but have those and then also have the attractive character. Like you can have them all. I'd say the
Right.
best answer is to have all your bases covered, have all shapes and
Right.
sizes, give people
Right.
the option. Say,
Ironically, that's something that they don't push so hard, and I know they're pushing for the agenda as a whole, but it's so surprising that you don't see too many bigger people in video
I don't have a
games. You
problem
know
with
what
the
I mean?
plus size. To me, like that, I'm actually cool with them games putting more plus size characters in there for
Yeah,
people that
absolutely.
are like. There's no reason to not have them in there, but don't. It doesn't just you can have those and you can have the sexy characters. I don't understand why
Right.
we gotta have one or the other. Like,
Right.
all right,
Right.
so let's see if I can find a first Descendants. Everything I'm clicking on only has small photos. I'm trying to see if somebody has like like full size characters to look at. God, they're all small photos. The first Descendant has like completely covered characters. It's from Korean or a Korean developer. Yeah, you could say, oh, there's no people of color. Well, it's a Korean developed game. I mean, how many people of color you think exist in Korea? And I don't know why people of color doesn't include Asian people because, um, you know, they're not
Right.
just Caucasians. Their
Not
skin
just
is
black people
pale,
either.
but they're not like your European Caucasian. Um, so it's kind of hard to see. I will say, but it's Korea. They don't have a lot of people of color there. And yeah, they
Right.
could
Right.
include So you have fully helmeted characters.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the like super popular one? This one right here. You're not getting any good shots, but yeah. Maybe I gotta watch. Maybe I gotta find a video. And you could say that maybe they went too far. Maybe they went too far into the sexy character thing. Like, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with having options to have both sides covered, like in one game.
Right. Right.
What's crazy though is if you look at the numbers for First Descendant versus Concord's beta, Concord's beta was like 2,000 people peak, average like in the hundreds, and First Descendant was like 80,000 or something. So it's like, I don't think the game looks good at all. Like
I still haven't played it.
Like a looter shooter thing. It looks pretty bad from what I've seen.
Nobody's really, I mean, at least not in my circle, has really even like actually
it's
said
free to play, isn't it?
It is.
I don't mess with those types of games. All right, so here's a video of like the character intros. So they definitely know what they're going for something.
Yeah. Okay. She's got a real set.
This operation, it's just wiping them.
You could say it's a pretty boring character there.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what he was doing with his own.
But I would probably use this as a game to say, yeah, they could use a little more variety of skin tones, and I'm not one to like protest that kind of stuff or make it a big deal, but I could see, yeah, maybe they could in this situation. I could see that, but apparently you can change the skin tones with microtransactions. So at the end of the day, does it matter? Like this guy looks pretty lame. And changing his skin color isn't gonna make him suddenly a relatable.
That's all he had. Oh, I like her.
Yeah,
she's the main one they show, right?
Yeah, she's got the booty. Yeah, see, this game doesn't do anything for me personally. Oh, I like this next one.
Reina.
Do as I say.
Oh yeah.
If you want to live.
See, and that's fine. What's wrong with that?
Like, I wouldn't have a problem with them having some variety. Like this would, I would actually debate and be on the side of this is an example where you could have a little more variety in your designs and your skin tones.
Huh. So this is that first girl, but they covered her.
Their
boobs,
intros
so.
are kind of.
The Vulgus
so yeah, this is the same
see
girl
me.
again. I think.
Huh.
No.
What do you get when
This
you
is the
mix
main one
water
right here
and
that people
oil?
show.
Okay.
Of course.
But either way,
Everything towards me. Even the
they went one side and Concord went they're on opposite sides basically. They
I
could
see.
have.
One's super padded. One's like, let's test it.
Let's see. What the hell, dude? I don't know, Master Les. I don't know what you're saying, if you're serious or just messing around. Bleeding Edge had a big girl, but that game was hot trash. Yeah, Bleeding Ass is what people called it. Twin Tail's design. Yeah, you had arms. You had everyone got excited for Twin Tail. I know all the Nintendo guys, including guys in the podcast, got excited for Twin Tail. And then maybe some of those guys were not as thrilled about some of the other like attractive characters in other non-Nintendo games. Dude, I don't know what you're talking about, Master Lessons, but unless you want to talk about the gaming podcast we're on, this is a gaming podcast. Sorry if you're a subscriber from my home theater content. On Mondays, I talk gaming with my boys. Usually there's more of us, but thanks for joining in. But yeah, so it's basically just the extreme one side and the extreme other. Let's just get together and let's just have again, again, man, I'm not talking home theater stuff here. So if you got nothing to add to the gaming discussion, come back. I'm gonna do some home theater live streams in the future. So um, I don't want to put you in a timeout or nothing, but we're having gaming chat here. Yeah, let's have some of these companies just kind of meet in the middle. Like just have
Right.
everything. Like
Yeah.
if it's a game like that, yeah, you want to have your what do they call it? It's a shooter, but it's like a character based. What do they call it? Hero shooter. So
Yeah.
um you want to have some characters. Like I said, you want people to attach themselves to a character, cosplayers, whatever. Fan art. Fan art's another huge like business that
Mhm.
is attached to gaming, and
Mhm.
you know maybe there are. I'm sure there's artists who want to do more than just the super skinny curvy girls. That's fine.
Yeah.
I just don't have a problem with having a mix of everything. You can't have a create a character option. Um,
But you even have like kind of like what you got in the background. Like you have plenty of people who want the models, like the
oh yeah, like the figurines.
yeah, like
Um,
and I and it's less appealing to have super padded up. Like I wouldn't buy
mhm.
that.
They would
I
have to
wouldn't.
be the design would have to be like you'd have to have a really cool character. That's the other thing. They're just lame looking designs. Or you have a plus size character in just like a trench coat, and
Right.
it's like with like the collar up. Like that's it. Like same with the First Descendants. A lot of those look generic and lame. The dudes
Yeah.
especially. Yeah. You give a third person shooter, you give the female a round ass, and it's something to look at while you play the game. But it still doesn't mean that the character designs are amazing.
Right. Right.
Just like Street Fighter 6, the variety is just it's so good, and they don't even have that many characters. Like that's a negative for the game that they don't have a lot of characters, but the ones that are there,
Yeah.
the variety is ridiculous. What is her name? Yuri.
Yep.
Like
I was I was just looking
you
at
got
her.
your goth chick, you got your spunky, cute characters. You have like a giant, muscly um, Russian like character. You
Yeah.
got Cammy, you got Chun Li, and you could create a character, but like with a hero shooter, yeah, you want them to come up with cool characters, but like the First Descendant doesn't have that. You have a couple of attractive characters for sure, but it's to me the gameplay and the designs are fairly pretty boring. Um, that's like it's not iconic. You want to have
Yeah.
something iconic, like Lara Croft's original design is still iconic.
Yeah.
I don't care what they do to her now, ruin her,
You-
whatever they try to do to make her more masculine,
Triangle boobs or
make her
not.
make her not be a Tomb Raider. She's just trying to preserve the 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 culture now. She's not stealing anymore. They try to change her. It's like you know she's Lara Croft was. If you try to change her, I know in the last game she was still attractive, but they definitely tuned down the skimpy outfits and stuff, and
Yeah.
but she's still an attractive character. It's like, um, but the point is like back like talking about the figurines, you got to have something that's just like amazing design, like Ganon in Tears of the Kingdom.
Samurai.
That dude, that is an amazing design. He's not. I'm not attracted to him, but I know there are some women. I think Nia, which I forget what
Vicky.
she goes by
Vicky
now
was
on
the same way.
Monado Queen, whatever Monado girl
Yeah.
on X. I think she found him attractive, and he just has a badass design. Like I would
Yeah.
buy a statue of that Ganon. He was awesome. Um, what's her face? Oh shit! From Breath of the Wild, one of the champions, Urbosa.
Barbosa.
Great
Yeah.
design. That's not my like. That's not my ideal woman right there. But that's a badass design. Mifa.
Right.
She's got a stupid fish on her head. Still a great design.
Right.
Um, I miss the regular deathmatch first-person shooter. Yeah, I mean, I played Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was the last one I played, but yeah, just having like just a deathmatch first-person shooter like back in the day you had
Yeah.
Quake and
Old COD.
Unreal Tournament and the early CODs
Hmm.
and GoldenEye and all those. Yeah, she's not allowed to raid tombs because of cultural appropriation. It's so stupid. You can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
They're the team. What did they make recently? Avengers? Yeah, they made the Avengers game. That
Oh, the PlayStation one?
no, the team the guys that did Tomb Raider. They
Oh.
Avengers was their follow up. And Black Widow, she looked like her and Mary Jane looked almost the same. Like, and even in Marvel themselves, like that's what Black Widow was. She used her. She outsmarted people. We saw it in the first Avengers movie.
Hmm.
She outsmarted people by playing the dumb, like she was just a woman letting guys who think women aren't capable be stupid and give her all the information, and then she's just whoops their ass, and it's like she used them, and that was her superpower.
Right.
And if you change that, then I know I'm just kind of rambling now, but end of the day, like I said, I have no problem with a plus size character. I have no problem with a non curvy character, but don't have those instead of just have the variety. Every game like that should have a variety. So if you're like, I don't know, if you probably rather, if you'd rather play as a male character, you want a male character that is appealing to you, whether it's just the design,
Hmm.
maybe their characteristics, like if somebody's from Jamaica, they probably like a DJ in Street Fighter,
Yeah.
like stuff like
Jamaican
that,
character. Yeah.
something that you can attach, and it doesn't have to be somebody of the same color. Like I might like that might be a character I'm like, man, if I'm gonna play let's say it's just a shooter like that, I want to play as this dude. Like this guy's badass. Doesn't have to look anything like me for me to be like, that's the guy, that's the character I want to play as. Like this idea that you have to see yourself in order to like feel
Bet you're in the game.
like that,
I
or
feel that.
like for movies and stuff, like it's just crazy to me. Like
I feel that. I went back and looked at because you said Mortal Kombat woke. I went back to look at like all the designs, even for like Sindel, and like besides the sprite, the sprite is one, but like looking at the original timeline, she's kind of got like that little like
mm-hmm.
diamond out piece in the front, and like her when she was like dead and reborn, like she's like the most voluptuous. But then you look at her current one, and she's just like super regular.
Well, this video says all female characters have the same body, question mark. I wonder if it's true. God, I'm seeing some of these designs just in the thumbnail, and it's like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
it's not just that they're not sexy. Some of these are they're just so lame looking.
Yeah.
Official Megan
They got
Fox becomes Nightiri trailer. I didn't see that. Like
they got male and female Cyrex and Sector now, and they're just all
that's the other thing, gender swapping. It's just out of hand.
yeah.
This is Shang
Alright,
Tsung's
let me-
doing. Oh, I
check this
assume
out.
he's
I
your
don't know exactly
only
what
enemy.
this is. She's not like the worst looking character. Obviously her face is. But still, that's an ugly ass outfit. I don't care. Yeah, she's got some cleavage going, but that's an ugly ass outfit. Is that Sonya?
Yeah.
Her daughter.
Very, very conservative.
I mean, look what's going on, but we're worried about
Right.
Some skin.
Right. She can't be too voluptuous. You gotta keep it down.
Brutality.
Have it
I
as
don't,
flat as
I don't
possible.
care that she's covered. That's just an ugly outfit. Body wise, she's not terrible. Like, look at this. We're okay with this, but we're like, oh my God, too much skin.
Right.
Look at her.
They do have
Like, what is with the no hips either? Like,
Yeah, they do have the same size.
that's like the same body. Like, this is a different video. It's like our hips. When did hips become such an offensive thing? Let me go to the one, the same body.
Selected from the firstborn daughters of Outworld. Was murdered.
Oh wow, they're showing all of them together.
I didn't know if this is gonna be a video where someone's actually gonna talk.
Oh yeah.
Like, people keep showing that. Like, that's the thing that's hard to deny. There's a lot of female characters that look like have this type of face. Like there's an actor that kind of looks like her. And they're like, why do they keep making these the black female characters look so like hideous? And I was like,
Yeah, giving them a diamond face.
Yeah, this is. I don't know what this is. I thought they were actually gonna show.
I mean, but if you look at the last two,
I
her
thought they were
body
gonna
is
have
much,
like. I thought they were actually gonna show like a comparison. All female versions of characters. There's female versions of male characters. Did you say that?
Yeah.
So Scorpion has it. Like, come on. I mean, I guess I don't care, but this series sucks anyway. All right, enough of this. Let's move on. I got distracted. I was gonna point something out, kind of get out of this topic.
Peter with the ugly stick and some 3D engine.
Again, I don't care that not every character has to be, oh my god, like most curvy, voluptuous woman. But again, like not every character needs to have fucking straight hips and be completely covered.
And no chest. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with. I mean, go to Home Depot like on a Saturday. That's an example I always give because I've seen some of the most like attractive women there. And it's like that's what they just wear. That's what women just wear out in public. In that's like considered offensive in a video game. It's just. I mean, you were at the beach. You went to the deck with me, T and I. Yeah, it's a beach setting, but you know. There's some pretty nice outfits, you know. So whatever, it is what it is. I kind of regret talking about it that long, but other than that, the main topic, what does the Switch successor have to do to be considered a success after the 140 plus million selling Switch? What in your mind?
That's an interesting question. It doesn't have to beat the original Switch, to be honest with you.
Because Nintendo does not have a good track record with following up a big hit sales-wise.
No. I feel like almost every sequel system, if that's what you want to call it, is never as big as the first one.
So let's see what the 3DS did.
The 3D is the 3DS the highest one, or is it the DS?
DS is the 155.
Okay. Because I mean,
so according to this, the 3DS is at 75 million. I thought it was in the 80s. Let's look up lifetime. 75.94 million units as of 2022. So.
It's close.
In my opinion, that's barely a success for the follow-up to the DS. It had a bunch of great games. The 3DS had a ton of great games. You go from 155 to 75. That's a 80 million. You're less than half.
Yeah.
It's a financial success. I would call it probably disappointing to Nintendo's expectations, but nothing to slouch at. I mean, 75 million is still good. That's a handheld. So I think the Switch 2 sells anything less than 75 million. I would say that was borderline not a success. Profitable for sure, but I just mean you go from 155, 160 for the Switch, you're at 70, 65, 70. That's not a success in my opinion. That is
Yeah.
going the wrong direction by a mile. Never going to sell the same, is more or the same. But I think if it's under the 3DS's 75, I think that would be a bummer. I think Nintendo would be disappointed.
To be honest with you, I was actually gonna say 100. Like, I think if you hit 100 million, I feel like after that point,
Yeah,
that's
100 is guaranteed success. But I'm trying to
yeah,
think, where's that line where you're like, yeah, that's not a success now. Like
right.
90 million, I'd say success. 80 million,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I,
You start
you
getting
know, and I think because it's based off of something that was so successful, right? Because like for let's say Xbox has another Xbox come out, like what are they at? 30,
yeah,
40 million
30.
maybe. So so for like Xbox to come out with another system, like what would be garnered as a success? Anything more than that,
It'd
right?
have to
Like
at least match that or exceed it. You can't sell
yeah,
20 million and still like the series consoles are not a success. 32, that's not a success. Like for them, they're just going backwards. The one did more than that.
right.
You need to outsell the Xbox One, otherwise it's a huge failure as a system. Now, you could argue them as a publisher and stuff. They're a success with all the purchases, but yeah, PS PS5's on track to sell close to the PS4 numbers. If it continues at the rate it's at, it'll get close. It should definitely hit 100 million, unless
Yeah,
it just falls off a cliff, which is
right.
possible. I think the PS5 needs to hit at least 90 to be considered a success.
That's
And
yeah, I feel that. You know, and it's funny as we're talking about this too. I think that the Switch 2 is going to have the opposite trend that the Switch did. So, the Switch started at down here and it kind of like rapidly increased, as time went and
mm-hmm.
then kind of went to that plateau. Because everybody knows what the Switch was and moving into the Switch, I feel like it's going to be way up here starting at the beginning and have that slow decline as time goes a little bit faster than the Switch did. So it makes me wonder how that end number is going to look in comparison. Now it's never going to like I don't think it's ever going to like just straight up drop because of, all the I call them like generations, like the first, second years, the third, fourth years, fourth, fifth years,
Mm-hmm.
or fifth, sixth year, those people. So, the people who are finally deciding that they're going to pick up a Switch now, they'll probably be the same people who finally pick up a Switch too when whatever the successor is coming out. But I just think it's going to have a opposite trend. Like the trend is just going to slowly.
I mean, that's why. Not that I'm, uh, like saying that this is absolutely the best strategy. I felt like Nintendo needed to just come out with the Switch 2 this year, early
Hmm.
this year. And they could still release some of the games they have released this year just for the Switch, or they could just make them cross-gen. It just from this day, like I think during your stream when you were talking about, you guys were saying March 2025, and I said maybe it was on the juice list. I don't remember. I said, would you rather have 13 million Switches sell this fiscal year,
Hmm.
or 13 to 20 million Switch 2 sell this fiscal year? Like, I think it was on the Juices Loose podcast. I asked that question. I don't
Hmm.
think you were here. So would you
No.
rather, as Nintendo, so this fiscal year ending in March 2025, they're slated to hit 13 million Switch sales.
Yeah.
Are those 13 million Switch sales more important, or as important, more important, less important than if they launched the Switch 2 and that did, let's say, 16 million in the
Hmm.
fiscal year to start
Hmm.
that console out strong? Like,
Hmm.
to me, I think it was more important to have the future, and they might have a bunch of games, but the longer you wait, the more people that buy a Switch 2 or buy a second, or buy a Switch, buy a second Switch, buy a third Switch, are less likely to buy the Switch 2. They could have been
Yeah.
buying right now. The Switch 2 could be at 10 million units sold if they released it in March this year. And it's
Yeah.
like
I think on paper, I think on paper it looks good if it was the old Switch to have 13 million, because I think at that point you beat the record. But financially speaking, it's easily better to have, because even if you're not looking at, even if they were matched, 13 million Switches versus 13 million Switch 2s, the Switch 2 is going to be more expensive. At least that's what we believe. It's going to be more expensive than any of the Switches for that point. You know what I mean? So 13 million sold of Switch 2s at $400 or 450, what have you, is more money in your pocket for Nintendo than it is being an original
Unless
Switch.
somehow the build cost of the Switch 1 is so low that they're just like, hey, we already have the system. People already know it.
Mhm.
We don't have to market it. This is me thinking corporate executive room.
Mhm.
We already have a manufacturing line. We don't have to change anything. We just keep selling. We'll sell 13 million Switches. No new like major advertising. We don't have to try to sell this new system, and that's just easy money versus having to release this new system and make sure people know it's there and that it's worth buying. But at the same time, like I said, the more people that buy a Switch late in this generation, a second, third Switch, I mean, I think you're just cutting into the Switch 2's lifetime sales. I do. And who
Yeah.
knows how it plays out? They might get this 13 million, release the Switch 2 next year, and it sells 20 million, and it just keeps selling like crazy, just like the Switch 1. And it was like, yeah, a stupid thing to even say. Like, of course they were gonna get as much out of the Switch 1, and then but if the Switch 2 comes out and it does good in the beginning and it starts to slow off quicker, nothing. I will be arguing that Nintendo should have released it sooner, and it's like people will be sick of me saying it because I feel like if this thing struggles after year one and year two, and it's just like you guys waited too long. You wait too many people on the Switch 1. They're in that they have the system, they have multiple systems, and they're not gonna just upgrade. That's how
I
I
think the
feel.
up, I think the upgrade comes in, and I think we've talked about it. So the software. If you got the new Mario coming out,
Yeah,
the new
that will
3D
definitely.
Mario Kart, that's gonna easily make people shift,
And
or at least
we live in a world where people are used to now, thanks to Xbox and especially PlayStation,
yeah.
they're used to like games working on both systems. And if
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo's gonna, they don't follow trends like that. They do their own
Uh,
thing. I don't think they're gonna do much cross-gen games. If
no,
it'll be the launch lineup, Metroid Prime 4 will be, I think, cross-gen, and
and
that's it.
Pokemon.
I think if you want to play Mario Kart 9 or whatever they decide to call it, you're gonna need the
Yeah,
Switch 2.
yeah.
And I
I
think
think I think that whatever Pokemon, that one they announced, the Legends, I think you maybe get that. Everything else,
well, it's gonna already be out on Switch. I'm thinking games that come out after the Switch 2's out.
yeah.
Will they say, well, this will be cross gen, or nope, this is, or would it
No,
be, nope, this is only works on, this is a Switch 1 game. You can play it on your Switch 2, but you're not getting any benefits. That'll be the next Pokemon
right.
game next year, like at the end of the
Yeah.
year. Yeah,
I
it's a
think that
Switch game. It'll play on your Switch 2, but there's no benefits, no enhancements, type of thing.
right. I think that's what shot. Realistically, to be honest with you, I think that's what shot both Sony and Microsoft in the foot this generation. Is like, hey, you can play everything that's backwards
It did,
compatible,
but
and then
on the
kind of
same time, it's kind of the argument it's made about Nintendo. Would you rather sell 13 million Switches or 13 million Switch 2s? Would you
right.
rather sell 5 million copies of Horizon Forbidden West on PS5, or would you rather sell 5 million copies of Horizon on PS5 and 5 million on PS4? Like,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there would be people who would have been like, you know what, I got to get a PS5 now. There would definitely have been more PS5
Mhm.
sold if they
Mhm.
couldn't play it on the PS4, but I think it wouldn't have been enough to justify the loss of sales for the PS4 version. And I wonder if they have
Mhm.
any numbers on that game's sales. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. And we know Nintendo well enough to know that they're not gonna sit there and let you have every single game as a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 game. They don't, like,
They're
usually,
gonna move on to the
yeah,
Switch too.
past history, once that's cut off, Breath of the Wild, once that's cut off, you're done.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really smart if you care about selling your new system. Like
Hmm.
you could say it, like I said, it could Horizon Forbidden West sold 8.4 million units for PS4 and PS5 combined. If you
Mm.
just did PS5 only, that might have been 4.4 million units, you know, it might have been
Yeah, true.
3.4 million units.
Or it could have possibly have been more. Somebody could have been like, well,
I
now
don't
I got
think
to
the
go buy
game
the
would have sold
system.
more, but it would have sold more PS5. Some of those PS4 people would have bought the PS5 to play it.
Hmm.
And that's, you know, the game, there's a significant benefit to playing it on PS5. So I never had a problem with that cross gen strategy as long
Hmm.
as the PS5 version was like a significant upgrade, which almost every game it was. So
Right.
I don't think Nintendo would quite go that route. I don't think it'd be that much of a difference, but it'd be interesting to see if they do cross gen, how they do it. I mean, are they this? They had to move on from the Wii U, but the Switch they don't have to move on necessarily
Yeah.
immediately. And people, there's a lot of people with Switches. What did that number come out? Where how many active Nintendo Online accounts are like 125 million? Some of
Yeah.
those might just be paying for it and not realize they still have it. I don't know if they have an
Yeah.
auto renew, but 120 something million, I think.
That's
But
that's kind of a good attach rate considering
it
that
is.
there's 140.
But if you
So
know, if you're playing Mario Kart, you have to have the online.
yeah, that's true.
You know,
Well, yeah, because you can't pay for the tracks individually, can you? They're
you can
all
buy the tracks as DLC, but you can't play them online. So
uh yeah. Yeah, that's
that's a
true.
big component of Mario Kart
Yeah.
now. So yeah, I think bare minimum Switch 2. I think it has to sell at least 80 million to be considered like a success.
Mm,
Be profitable.
right.
Like anything over 30 million is gonna be profitable. But if they do another like, if this is like a 50 million seller, that would be. I think that would be considered a pretty big failure,
Yeah.
based
Yeah.
on the Switch One. And who
I think
knows, man? Who knows with technology, with these portable gaming handhelds?
yeah.
Who knows
And
where we're gonna be?
I kind of think too, what if, and this is kind of like I guess the credit to the Switch. What if we get another generation of Nintendo games that we have like a massive amount of games that are in like the tens to 20 millions sold. Like
They would love that for sure.
like what does that look like for like future generations for us? I mean that could be a good thing and that could be a bad thing to be honest with you. Cuz I don't Nintendo can get a habit of sitting on their laurels too.
Yeah,
Like, oh okay, this is what they like, so we'll just stick right here.
they could be like, you know, those Wii U and Wii ports we did on Switch. You know, we might re-release a couple of those now in 4K. You know, I could see them just
Yeah,
like doing some
yeah.
shit like that. Like
Definitive 4K edition.
you could have, and it's not like Nintendo hasn't done it a few times in the past, but
Yeah.
whatever this new Switch is, this new successor could do, maybe there's a reason to re-release like a Pikmin 4. Maybe
Hmm.
this has a better motion control system and Pikmin 4 with new play control, you know, like let's re-release that at full price. And or they could just, you know, do the bare bones sports games still, the bare bones Mario Party games and the bare
Yeah.
bones Wii Sports, the limited online stuff still. Like they could really, I think they could really make some bad choices and
Hmm.
mess it up big time. Like I think
Yeah.
people, I don't know if people would forgive them if another bare bones online experience.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. So like I said, it could be a good move, it could be great, but it also knowing them, they're very much tied to this is what the people want. You know what I mean? I think
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel like that's why we got Switch Online is like, oh, they didn't want to buy these games as singular games anymore. They're talking about services,
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean, to me that's like that the addition of the NES Super NES games, and it's it's like one of those, hey, look at what we have, But then if you really look at the lineup, it's pretty fucking sad on the N64, Super Nintendo. Like they basically stopped even releasing new games for it. It's like people, and I don't care about that stuff. I want to just be able to get in a lobby, bring up my friends list, see who's on, and send them a damn invite to play a game. Like how the Xbox 360 or the Xbox original could do that.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? The Dreamcast, I don't know if you, I think with the, if you had the Sega, if you paid for the Sega premium service, you could do online for free, but you could buy like Sega's service. It was better. I don't remember if you could do friends and stuff on there, but like, if I can't just say, all right, open up ARMS 2, all right, Robert's playing, Sandstorm's playing, T's playing, all right, let me send him an invite. If you can't do that, I'm sorry. Like, that's gonna be such a bummer. I don't know if people are gonna care. Honestly, I don't know if people will care or people are gonna be like, "This is ridiculous." I don't know at this point. So used to how bare bones the Switch online is, and it seems to be people still pay for it and they use it. But
now, was the Wii U that way? Could you do that with the Wii U? With like Miiverse?
No. You could go to the friends list. You could see who's online in a separate app, but no Nintendo games let you do that. Call of Duty and some other third-party games let you do that, but no Nintendo game just let you. Now you could in Mario Kart 8, you could see your friends and see they're in online, and you could join their online even if they're playing with randoms. That's the only game that I know of that Nintendo did where you could just see your friend was playing and join their damn lobby, watch their race while you waited.
Yeah.
And obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe works that way.
Right.
Every game should work that way. Like,
yeah.
And Omar.
No, I agree.
I gotta say, Omar, Horizon Forbidden West, I got 90-something hours in that game. That's a great game. I love that game.
It was a beautiful game. When I saw
It's
it,
stunning.
I was impressed.
Gameplay's fun. With the gyro. Yeah, there's some quirks here and there. Some of the melee combats, but once you get good at it, shit. I wish I would have put that higher in my game of the year list, to be honest. I think I put it 4th. And I kind of wish it was 3rd or 2nd. And I forget what was that. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 come out that year? 2021?
I thought that was the same year as Harry Potter.
God of War. You had God of War, Forbidden West. I want to say Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Harry Potter wasn't that year? Oh, then what? Okay.
No, that's 2023, dude, or 22.
Was that last year?
Yeah, 23 was when Hogwarts came out.
Oh.
Let's look up 2021 games. Let's see. Returnal was my game of the year. First time ever a Sony exclusive was my game of the year. Resident Evil Village, Metroid Dread. I don't think Rift Apart came out that year. Oh, wait. That was the year before Forbidden West was 2022. That's right, because they delayed it. So 2022.
2022.
Elden Ring was the game of the year. So it was Ragnarok, Elden Ring, Pokemon Legends, Forbidden West, and I'm pretty sure it was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Were the 5 games on my list.
Ragnarok.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land was that year. Plague Tale Rex was Splatoon 3. Maybe it wasn't Xenoblade Chronicles. Yeah, because Splatoon 3 and Xenoblade swapped. Remember the dates?
Yeah, yep.
So my top 5 was Pokemon Legends, I want to say. Horizon Forbidden West, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, God of War, and Elden Ring. Honestly, I can turn Horizon back on still and play it. God of War, I rinsed that game, platinum trophied. I don't know if I'm ever going to play it again. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 again. I got so freaking bored by the end. I was just like zoning out during the little combo.
Cutscenes.
No, the combat like that.
Yeah, getting into the special little.
Yeah, dude, picking and like to me that just got monotonous and. Why Xenoblade doesn't make this? Oh, there it is. Yep. So I would have put it definitely 3, but possibly even 2 now that more time has passed. And Elden Ring, I can't believe it's been 2 years since that game came out.
This was the same year as Ghostwire. Okay.
And I still haven't played Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Whoops. What else was out? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, Stray, Gran Turismo 7. Yeah, they had Gran Turismo 7, Forbidden West, and God of War in the same year. And since then, they ain't had shit. They had Spider-Man 2 last year and nothing this year. That's just crazy to me.
Right.
Last of Us Part 1, forgot about that. You know, I don't count those games. People think that I just judge Nintendo unfairly. I don't. Doesn't even count. Last of Us Part 1, it didn't, like, it came out, but that doesn't count. That's not a new game. It's not even worth, like, discussing. The same with Nintendo when they did the ports and stuff. Like, these don't count for me as, like, games for the year. Oh, it's new to somebody. Who cares? Like, that's not a new Switch game. Tropical Freeze, Bayonetta 2, Hyrule Warriors, and what else came out in the same year for Switch? The Wii U ports. There's 4 that year. 2018.
For 22? Oh, 18.
They're Bayonetta 1 and 2. New Super Mario Brothers U. Wait, no, that might not have been that year. It was Bayonetta 2, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Tropical Freeze. Was it Captain Toad?
Captain Toad, yep.
Yeah. Captain Toad. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like, and full price. I'm sorry. I basically lost half my viewers because I talked about that nonstop in 2018. It still upsets me. That was your 2018 after following up like one of the best years ever. And the new games were what, Mario Tennis?
Yeah,
Super
Mario
Paper
Tennis
Mario, or Super Mario Party, and
Double
Smash.
Dash was in that year, wasn't
What
it? Or
was?
was that the year after? Or not Double Dash. What was it? Rush? The Mario Golf.
No, Golf was a couple years later. That was like 2020,
Oh.
2021. I mean, Smash was great, but people were talking about all the releases. Bayonetta 2, Bayonetta 1 and 2 combo, like High Warriors. Those aren't new games. Like, cool.
Yeah. Age of Calamity.
Let's see. So it's not as many Nintendo published games. There's Super Mario Brothers U, Hyrule Warriors, Bayonetta 1 and 2, Pokken Tournament, Wonderful 101, which wasn't Nintendo. But Wii U games, like specific Wii U games, I guess. So Bayonetta 2, not just 1. Super Mario 3D World, Pikmin 3, Captain Toad, Lego City, which that was a they released that multi-plat afterwards. Donkey Kong, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I feel like there's been more. There's been some Wii ones of late. I guess not Wii U, but yeah, it still gets me fired up thinking about that 2018. And people were defending it. I'm like, it's just, this year sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I got one game to buy all year for this new system I have that I'm super excited for. Now Sony's been just as bad. Luckily, or fortunately, Sony just gets every major third-party game and some that Xbox don't get, so you don't have to worry.
Right.
You know, I can play Black Myth Wukong this week if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Play all the Resident Evils. I can play, every game that comes out. So it's
Star
not
Wars
as
Bounty
bad.
Hunter.
Star Wars Outlaws. All that looks trash. I'm sorry. We looked at that a couple weeks ago. That looks trash.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
Looks like a money grab.
Especially the pricing structure is like, maybe for $20 there might be something to get. I just hate, like, I'm sorry, like, the main character looks like a freaking alien, and they just made her a female Han. She's a damn smuggler, and it's like, people are like, oh, that's not. They didn't just gender swap Han Solo. Yeah, they made her a Han Solo character. What? They couldn't come up with something better? Like, you couldn't come up with just a good female character. You had to make her a smuggler and look and act, or dress and act like Han Solo, like be a smuggler and all that. Like, I mean, it's better than what EA's been doing. Other than, people like the.
I like Survivor and
I don't know about
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. To me was just it was okay, but as a
I like the story of them, I should say, um, and the world building. But it's not obviously it's not any of the Soul games. They still haven't figured out how to handle controls. They're still laggy in the control aspect. So
yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, but I was gonna say, like, I played like 3 Souls games that year: Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and Demon Souls remake. So then playing Fallen Order's like this is just like a poor man's Souls game, and it didn't make sense in the context of Star Wars. Hey, I'm gonna rest here, and all the enemies come back. Like that makes sense in a fantasy world where there's like literal dead people and all these creatures, but in the Star Wars universe, to me, I couldn't like justify that in my head. Like,
yeah, they don't even
sense.
like they don't even like drop them off. You know what I mean? Like it would make a little more sense if like you rested and a TIE fighter or some sort of thing just comes out.
It's the exact same enemies in the exact same spot, and it's like
Yeah.
no justification for that. And
Yeah.
it didn't need to do that.
No.
They could have just made it an adventure game. Like, why you guys gotta cut? Why does every game have to have freaking
It has to be something else.
like somebody like? Did you
version
see
of something
that that footage of that replaced that really cool 2D pixel art game? They finally had an update, and it's got the Arkham combat system in a 2D side-scrolling game. I was so bummed when I seen that. Let me show you the 4 days ago. The game looks stunning. Like one of the coolest looking games I've ever seen. There's 3 phases. Basically, one's a like auto runner, endless runner type game. Did you click on?
Yep, I did.
Let me get to. So they show like the opening. This shit looks amazing. Like if you're gonna do pixel art, this is how you do pixel art.
Yeah, I've been excited about this game.
So the first like 2 minutes of this is just running and having to climb over a few logs. It looks like he said they spent so much time building this world and this lighting engine and this game engine. And it's like, oh, you weren't working on gameplay? So this is like you can judge for yourself if you think this looks fun to play, holding right. It does look like there's some more, maybe some platforming, some hanging, but like this is how you're going to showcase the first like gameplay.
Right.
You're not doing anything. I think you probably have to press a button there, and maybe later on there's some really cool like platforming. And I'm like, but still, visually, this game is unmatched.
Oh yeah, this looks crazy.
But yeah, he really stressed how much they've been working on designing like the animations, animating individual like grass and in the lighting and like really you're tech. You guys are tech focused. Crytek, are you Crytek? Like this is the opening of the game. You're just holding right on the frickin' stick or D-pad.
Right.
You're doing nothing.
There's no enemies.
There's a log. I think a helicopter comes or something, or a guy's shooting. Then you have to run again. Like, can you even get hit?
That's what I was saying.
Yep,
like that was
jump
kind
over
of
this
a long
log.
distance.
I guess if you mistime it, you're gonna die. Like, I was so disappointed with this. Oh, there's 2 logs.
Wow. And it's what's worse is it's a side scroller, right? So it's not like you can run into the trees or anything like that.
And okay, if this is just your opening, maybe like I said, it showed a clip of like him jumping on like a Ferris wheel or something. But I was like, I'm completely uninterested in this game after this.
Wow.
So let me get to phase 2. Like this goes on for another minute.
Jeez.
Not to like lead the witness here. I should have let you just judge it. Okay, now you have to stop. That looks like scripted. Like, what happens if you don't stop?
Right.
I'm jumping over logs, people. I've been jumping over logs for 2 straight minutes. This looks fun.
Yeah, that's wild.
And
Obviously,
they
the cops are right behind you.
showcased this game like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I was excited. Because he was like in the city or something like that.
Yeah, maybe if we watch the trailer again, but I mean, it just keeps going. Like, I saw
Wow.
this and I'm like, it's like when I played the Forspoken demo. I was totally deflated. This is like, he's like, oh, we seamlessly blend cinematics in with gameplay. It's like, yeah, you guys are really worried about dumb shit.
Right.
All right, so let's see. This is a quick time event.
That's why
Maybe this is that's just teaching you the counter system. So this is the first enemy, so it's showing you what you have to do. Then later on he shows basically an Arkham Knight sequence where you have a bunch of dudes. But God, the visuals look stunning.
Yeah.
I wish it was just like something to watch, like a movie. So here's a combat clip. Turn the sound on.
The combat system of Replaced is
Oh,
all about
wow, it
countering
really
and
is.
reaction. Inspired by the Batman Arkham series, we're aiming
Oh,
to
it
make
even
it
tells
satisfying
you.
and impactful.
It gives you
as
the,
well as
the
accessible for
icon, hey,
players of
dodge,
any skill
or
level,
counter. I mean.
thanks to our
So
multiple
it's the Arkham,
difficulty settings.
but I watched this personally, and I got bored before it ended. I'm like, wow, like this is what you're gonna be doing.
Wow. It really is.
I'm-
They
I'm-
even say it's
One
from
of my
the
goals as a
combat, inspired by the
director
combat.
They even
was
said
to create
it.
an animation rule set, which allowed us to have animated
So
transitions
he's talking
between
about
as much
how the
takes as
animations
possible
transition
in a
from one
hand-drawn
move to the
pixel art
next. They
game.
really
As a
focus on
result,
the visuals.
every character moves in an almost
mean,
seamless fashion.
It's really not that serious.
I mean, it looks great, but I think like a Streets of Rage fight system would have been better here. Personally.
Right. Because everybody in the background is just standing. Are they just standing to wait
This
their
particular
turn?
Can he
combat
get hit?
encounter
I mean, this
features
guy
a
is
mix
either
of
that
enemy
good or the
classes from
combat's
one of
just
our
that
factions,
simple.
which you will gradually stumble upon throughout the game.
I think it might have been better to show them getting hit and say, hey, all right,
Yeah.
this is what happens. It's really hard, and you're not gonna just get through everything untouched. It just looks
I
like a
imagine-
massive button. Hit Y when you need to counter.
Features
and then
4
just-
different classes of
Yeah.
enemies, as well as their armored variations.
There's probably some moves you have to do against bigger enemies. Like this guy probably has. You gotta take his armor off. I don't know, man. I should have just played it and let you decide and kind of.
And just like you have seen in the trailers, animated handgun executions,
it's-
as well as an intentful camera direction.
I
are
mean,
all
yeah,
part of
the
gameplay.
animations are cool and everything, but
this guy's either really good or it's just really gonna be kind of going through the motion. And then the third aspect is just exploring kind of an open area and talking to NPCs. And it's got the
At certain points
cinescope
in the story,
ratio,
you'll
so you
be
got the
set
black
free to
bars.
explore an open-ended location,
Is
which evolves
unnecessary.
with different new side quests,
If it's
new
a
hidden items,
aesthetic reason,
and new
it could be a
characters to
performance
interact
reason.
with.
They could be doing
It will
just
also
to
be
hit-
changing visually with each new visit.
oh, it's a black
as the
bar.
game
because
takes
there's no
place
reason
on
not
the
to
brink
have
of
a full
seasons.
frame 16:9 game.
Yeah.
Other than performance reasons, like Hellblade, they needed to do it to hit the performance.
Well, this really shouldn't be hurting for performance.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. It's a pretty. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like there's a lot of tech going into it. But
There
I'd
is a
probably
diverse set of
classify it as one of
characters
the
to
best
talk
looking
to,
games I've ever
whether
seen,
we
to
want
be
to
honest.
push the story forward or get to
It
know
is a
more
beautiful,
about the
especially
past,
bit
as well as the world of the
like
game.
this.
I
It
think
is definitely top notch.
it kind of makes the HD 2D kind of needs like the next gen version of HD 2D basically.
That's what I thought this was. Yeah.
This is well beyond.
All the important story events are fully animated.
This is what I
with
imagine
real-action
what they would
sections
turn
behind
a lot
each
of the PlayStation games into.
you may have seen in the second trailer for the game.
So
This
I
is
gotta
where you
say,
collect
though,
everything you have scanned
my hype for the
during your
game's
time at
gone way
Phoenix
down
City
after seeing
and
it.
its
It's probably,
outskirts.
I know Robert, if you're listening, it's probably gonna be a 3-hour game too. I really feel like maybe not because
And
of the
yes,
mission side
we could
missions,
not have
but
left out the arcades.
they've been working on this
After
game for
all,
so damn
even the
long.
dystopian 1980s
Put all this
can't
effort
resist
into
them.
making it look stunning. The better,
Yep.
like, I want it to last. I don't want it to be over. I don't want a game to be that looks that good, have that atmosphere, just be a simple, narrative focused 3-hour experience. To me, it's like, I'm bummed.
Agreed. I
Like,
felt the same way
it
about
could be an amazing 3 hours, but I'd want more.
I felt the same way about Katana Zero when that came out. And it's funny because I have it I have replaced in my wish list
Yeah.
on Steam. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it looks visually amazing, but they're very tech focused on that in that preview. He brought up the tech a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that first like 3 minutes of running, it's like, man, maybe that's just the opening. Maybe later on there's some clever stuff, but I don't have a lot of faith in it now. I kind of feel like they're kind of like Ninja Theory with Hellblade. It was all about the tech. It's all about the cinematic experience, and they regressed in the exploration and the combat. Everybody who played it that liked the originals basically said the same thing. It's fine. It's not terrible, but I was hoping the combat would evolve. I was hoping to be more fleshed out, more grand in scope, not one-on-ones now. Like, I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this game comes out and it's amazing, and like that was just not the best showcase for it, but
Right.
the Arkham combat system, I got bored
It's
by
played out
by the
now.
second game. I couldn't even get through Arkham City. I was so kind of over that. And then Spider-Man, I pushed through just to get to the end.
Yeah.
And I never want to really, honestly, I have no desire to ever play another game with that combat system.
Yeah, it's played out. Like it's
So,
I got tired of it after playing Lord of the Rings game. Like
oh yeah, what was that called?
um
Shadows of
what's it?
Mordor.
Shadows of Mordor
Was that the
and
first
Shadows
one?
of War. Yeah.
And the second one.
Mordor and War. Yeah.
Anyway, I think we hit the 2-hour point. And sorry to like rip. I mean, the game looks stunning. Just I was looking forward to it based on the style. The first trailer, I thought it was gonna be this cool, like 2D shooting platformer type game. And maybe, like I said, it might turn out to be that way. I'm just a little skeptical now. And
No,
yeah,
I
we'll
definitely
see.
feel you on
I don't
that.
know if they gave a year for that. I don't know if it's supposed to come out next year or what. But
My thing still says coming soon, so
anyway, we'll get out of here. Thanks you guys for tuning in. I know it was just a couple of us who kind of went on. I regret like the 30 minutes of going down that path of like the game characters and stuff, but it is what it is. We didn't.
you gotta speak your mind, man. You gotta speak your
Yeah.
mind.
I mean, I held back on a lot of other stuff too. Plus the whole game journalist stuff. I mean, I gave a couple examples. Didn't really even talk about the Stellar Blade nonsense, like people pushing false narratives and trying to make it about, they call it lotion games. Somebody called it like jerking off games and shaming people for wanting to play or have games with attractive people in it. Like that's some terrible thing. And, it just sucks. Like, you can like Life is Strange. You can have games like that tell stories that cover, some topics that aren't normally in a game. But when it just comes to like, you want to make as much money, you want to make a fun game, you can't alienate a large group of your audience and insult them and stuff. Like, it's just
Right.
people talking about Disney in the chat. Like, Disney will never learn. They are okay. Rogue
They're
One
gone.
turned out, but ever since Disney bought Star Wars, almost every movie is filled with reshoots.
Yep.
They had to retcon the Rise of Skywalker. They had to bring back JJ. They had to completely change their plan, retcon the crap out of it. They shouldn't even. I would have rather seen the original movie by the Jurassic world director or whatever. He had a different story, and they brought JJ and they just retconned it. So they basically scrapped the original idea, tried to fix it. Solo switched directors, reshoots. What's the most recent one? It's Disney. It's not Star Wars, but Snow White. Multiple reshoots.
Yeah.
The Marvels. They changed that. They didn't have. They like changed the story from a sequel to Captain Marvel to let's put this together. Apparently, that had a bunch of reshoots. They talked about doing a trilogy with the guys from Game of Thrones. That fell through. They were gonna do a trilogy with Rey. Now they're supposedly still doing one movie. That's in question. The Acolyte, I guess they just said no season 2. Why is there so many reshoots and all this nonsense? It's because they're worried about all the wrong things. They're just a trash company. To me, they're one of the worst companies there is. And I felt that way for a long time. They do they're doing, okay, we had a successful live action reimagining of the Jungle Book. Now let's do a full catalog of movies.
Right. Yeah. Nobody wants to see why Mufasa became the king. Like that's
Yeah, I don't mind as much them doing like a prequel, but the fact that it's the realistic CG, I don't care. I'd rather that been animated, like straight up a hand drawn animated Lion King prequel.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. You
and-
know, I said this on the podcast, on the Winging It podcast, actually. Because that question kind of came up as like, how do you, because we were talking about Borderlands, how do you how do you get people invested in those kind of movies? And I think it comes down to you should always stick with the source material, to be honest with you, because if you stick with the source material, then you've already pleased the fans who are already well versed in that. But if you're trying to get new people who aren't as invested, the first thing that they're going to do is either go to Google or ask somebody who they know that's versed in that, which builds up interest in the first place. And a lot of people, at least a lot of people that I know, who don't know something about something and then get informed, they're like, oh, well, let me go like search a little bit deeper. So not only are you building up the brand, but now you're building up the interest in that.
I don't
But
think
instead
the faithful matters if it's just a trash movie, though. Like being faithful. Like you could be as faithful as you want and it be like the worst movie and no one's gonna go see it. So you have to try to stick, like Fallout. Apparently Fallout changed something and there's people that are like trying to make a big deal out of it. Fallout was a great show.
Really not that big of a deal.
I'm nominated for 17 Emmys. Fantastic show, one of the best first seasons of a show I've seen in many, many years. And you know, I've never played the games, but they had enough that I recognized from just seeing clips and seeing footage of the games to know, yeah, that's the Fallout universe. It feels like Fallout. And then you just have a really well written show with like complex, interesting characters. That's the secret to success as far as critical success. Now, commercial success, you could have the best damn movie in the world, like Blade Runner 2049, amazing movie, and it bomb at the box office. You're not guaranteed success just because it's good, but being good and like trying to please, at least be faithful enough to like not piss off your core is definitely a good place to go. But that movie's already probably going to be out of the theaters, probably be on streaming in a couple weeks, I would think.
That's where it should have started, to be honest with you.
And it's like Eli Roth, he doesn't have a great track record. That had reshoots. Getting back to Disney, like the whole, like I'm trying to think of all the other reshoot disasters. God, I don't know if Ant-Man had any. I feel like maybe
Loki season 2.
Loki, I don't know if they had any reshoots, but they had an issue. I feel like that season 2, they kind of felt like maybe some writers left because it didn't feel quite the same. But why, like George Lucas for all his flaws with the prequels, it wasn't like they had to change directors. They didn't have all these reshoots. Like, just he had the idea, he wrote the movie, he filmed the movie. Like,
Right.
for whatever reason, I think Disney just has too many cooks in the kitchen, too many chiefs in the tribe, like too many people giving their input, and like, oh, we got all this money invested. Well, just release, or just make the movie after you have a good script, and then make the movie, and hire somebody who can make the movie right. Don't hire these people because they fit some kind of checkbox you're trying to check, and then they're not proven, and then you're halfway through the movie, you're like, yeah, we need to get a new director in here. This person is not good at what we gotta bring Ron Howard in to fix Solo. Like, that's bad management. And the fact that Kathleen Kennedy still has her job
Right, that's bonkers, isn't it?
I'm sorry, like, there's no way to prove this. If they hired a dude back then and the same exact mistakes had happened, I feel like he would have been fired. I can't prove it. It's just a feeling. I think, plus her pedigree, because she's tied to Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, like all the best movies, she's tied to them as a producer. And I think they would just feel like it would make them look so bad to fire her. At this point, you just have to. I mean, you have to. Like, look, I hope they make that Rey movie. I hope they let that woman who all she's made was a damn independent documentary. It's the only thing she's ever made. And then she apparently loves to make men uncomfortable with her subject matter, and she said that she's definitely gonna. This was during like an interview where she felt like free to say everything.
Yeah.
She's gonna put. She says that everything you do, you put a little bit of your own, not agenda, but your own like things in there, your own personal things in there. So if that Rey movie, I hope they make it, and I hope it absolutely bombs, and it is just absolute trash. Yeah. Because I think that hopefully would be the final straw. Like, they have to hit rock bottom. In order. I mean, there's been some good things. Andor's good. Mandalorian season 1 and 2 were good. That's about it.
Right.
But Force Awakens was all right. You know,
Ahsoka
was pretty good. You're right. Yeah. But yeah, the Star Wars let that freaking woman who's never made a real movie make this big action sci-fi. That's the other thing. It's all green screen. At least JJ, they made sets and shot stuff on sets, and that was like, it actually looked good that way. Snow White looks absolutely atrocious. It's all CG with a live acting character. It's just, it's like, how the hell you guys, like I said, how do these people still have their jobs?
Right.
You know, apparently Marvel got rid of a bunch of people, low key under the radar.
Well, that's how they got Donnie. I was gonna say Donnie Jr. Robert Downey Jr.
Well, they fired a bunch of people. They bribed the Russo brothers to come back and direct a few Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Who knows? I wonder how much Robert Downey Jr. is getting to play.
I heard it was a lot.
Like,
I heard it was quite a bit.
Like Robert said that he thinks those Avengers movies would have did $1 billion either way. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe. Because there's been some movies still, but he said like with I guess Thor was still going to be in it, but with the Guardians of the Galaxy got people, you know, if you got all the same actors, I mean, no one's going to care. I mean, Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, they still don't, I don't know. I don't know. But either way, I'm going to get out of here. My cats, they're looking at me. They're hungry. But thanks for coming. So I wasn't here by myself.
Hey, man, I got you. You already know.
And thanks you guys for sticking with us. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Says it has 120 views. I don't know if that's 100.